please only take the microphone, take the floor when he's recognized by the Speaker. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I suspect that, like me, you have noticed that the Leader of the Opposition is particularly full of shameless slogans today. The reality is...
The NDP Liberal government is not worth the cost of food. The food professor estimates that between 2022 and 2025, the cost of food will be up 34%. That's a time that coincides exactly with the NDP Liberal coalition. Coincidentally, the NDP leader's chief spokesman and brother, his company is a lobbyist for Metro. But the food professor blames the increase on carbon taxes on farmers and truckers who bring us our food. Before Canadians go hungry, why won't the Prime Minister allow a carbon tax election so Canadians can axe the tax?
The farmers across this country are feeling the impacts of the extreme weather events that come from climate change, whether it's droughts or wildfires or floods. We are seeing the costs of climate change every single day. And we put forward a price on pollution that not only brings down emissions and creates more solutions and economic growth, it also puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians right across the country. It's the Parliamentary Budget Officer who says that. We're going to continue to fight climate change while the leader opposite wants to abandon the fight against climate change.
He loves to blame the rest of the world for the rampant food price inflation here at home. But the food professor proves that narrative false. He has calculated that food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than in the United States of America. What does Canada have that the Americans don't have? 2 words: carbon tax. So instead of forcing Canadians to line up at food banks, why won't he let them line up to vote in a carbon tax election?
Mr. Speaker, I didn't dare say anything after the last question because I sort of couldn't believe my ears. But here we have the Leader of the Opposition actually quoting some sort of expert, which is a brand new thing for this House of Commons. To rely on facts and data is an excellent thing to hear. Now, perhaps the Leader of the Opposition will listen to the hundreds of economists and scientists who have pointed out that putting a price on pollution, particularly one that puts more money back in the pockets of the middle class and those working hard to join it, is the best way to both fight climate change and grow the economy. But the leader opposite, he just wants to play politics.
Including the member from Peterborough, Haliburton Brock, to please only take the microphone, take the floor when he's recognized by the Speaker. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Some more expert information for the Prime Minister from the food professor Sylvain Charlebois, who finds that 13% of Americans live in food insecurity, while here in Canada it's 23%. In other words, Canadians are twice as likely to live in food security after food price of inflation has been 1/3 higher under this Prime Minister's carbon tax regime. Again, instead of blaming others or forcing Canadians to go hungry, why not a carbon tax election so that Canadians can axe the tax and afford their food?
Mr. Speaker, this campus conservative turned career politician doesn't actually care about Canadians. What he is actually doing is proposing to take money out of the pockets of 8 of the 10 Canadians who do better with the Canada carbon rebate while we fight climate change. He stood against dental care that is delivering for over 800,000 people across this country, something he still says doesn't exist. He's standing against the school food policy that is helping 400,000 kids get better food across the country. He stood against childcare. He has stood against affordability measures.
Mr. Speaker, when you quadruple the tax on the farmers who grow the food and on the truckers who ship the food, you tax all who buy the food. The Canadian Trucking Alliance has calculated that the carbon tax will cost $20,000 for every long-haul truck this year alone. Now he wants to quadruple the tax, which will grind those trucks to a halt, meaning empty shelves in grocery stores, no parts for factories, and no paychecks for our workers. Instead of doing that, why not call a carbon tax election so that Canadians can axe the tax and save our economy?
Mr. Speaker, I suspect that, like me, you have noticed that the Leader of the Opposition is particularly full of shameless slogans today. The reality is he has nothing to offer Canadians. He has nothing but political slogans and easy attacks on politics. No actually moving forward on delivering on programs that are going to help Canadians. No stepping up to put more money in people's pockets. He's offering tax breaks for the wealthiest and cuts for services and programs to everyone else. That's not what Canadians need right now.